What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. It is Survivor Series WarGames 2022. We're breaking that down, talking about all the things that happened, all the things we liked, what we didn't like, what we're a little bit meh about, so on and so forth. I'm Tony Mango, joined by Robert E. Felice.
Hey everyone, how we doing?
I'm you can tell I'm somewhat losing my voice a little bit. So hopefully that doesn't crap out in the middle of me doing this. I can see we got some people in the chat right now. We got Marco, we got Brandon, we got Carrie. What's up, everyone? Keep in mind, if you are listening and you have not said anything in the chat yet, hello to you too, but you also have that super chat thing going on. You've got just the regular chat. And if you're listening to this after the fact, we're not live, then still leave your comments below. Tell us what you thought about this pay-per-view and chime in with whatever else you want to talk about. We got some interesting things to talk about here. I don't think it's going to be one of our more in-depth ones, to be honest, though. Only 5 matches and not too many shockers, even though I got a couple of them wrong. You got a couple of them wrong. Callum got a couple wrong, that kind of thing. But some good stuff. Nothing really all that bad. We got one thing that was kind of bad. And, overall, I'm feeling pretty positive about it. How about you?
I'm, for the first time in a while, intrigued by where they go next with Roman. And I think this might have to do with the fact that this is the first match that he was in that wasn't just, oh, hey, he's fighting Drew, but you knew that. Or, oh, hey, he's fighting Brock, but you knew that. This was actually unique.
Let's see, we got Chris and Peter and Emilio in the chat too. What's up, guys? Let's start off with the pre-show. As per usual, not much going on there. I did write down 2 of Jerry Lawler's jokes, though, that I thought were funny.
I wonder if they're the same ones I remember.
One of them is Sami Zayn has the job security of a Twitter employee.
Very good, yes. And the other one is, let me see if I can guess it. Rey Mysterio never wanted children. He only had children so he could have someone to look up to.
No, I didn't catch that one. That's pretty good, though. The other one that I got was Paul Heyman hates losing so much he won't even lose weight.
He won't lose weight. That's right. Jerry Lawler was very, very good.
Well, it's great, yeah.
On the kickoff.
I love when he tells these awful, stupid jokes. But nothing else happened on the pre-show. Just the analysis type things. Peter Rosenberg tossing out his predictions. Booker T talking about whatever random stuff Booker T wants to talk about. Because Booker T is kind of just, I'm going to talk about neck bones today. And then tomorrow I'm going to talk about Mandy Rose is the candy that your mom doesn't want you to eat or something. Thank you for the super chat for Carrie. I got lots wrong. Which ones did you predict? Which ones did you get right and wrong? Let us know.
Nah. For 5 seconds there, I thought I was going to run away with the fantasy game.
Yeah, you got the first one right, and it's like, oh, okay, I got it. And then, never mind.
Yeah. But honestly, this was an enjoyable show. This was one of the more digestible WWE pay-per-views in recent months. Yeah, I don't feel like it overstayed its welcome. In fact, it was a very understated show. They didn't try to cram 8 matches, including 2 WarGames. I really liked the way this was structured.
This was a pretty easy watch, yeah. In part because there wasn't a whole lot that I really needed to write down when I'm doing live coverage on multiple sites at the same time. And that just makes it easier just because the easiest thing that you can do when you want to watch something is just sit back and enjoy it. So the less copying and pasting and changing things and updating things and all that I can do, the more I just kind of go like, oh, cool, look, I can just kind of be a fan. But the structure of the first match lasting about 40 minutes, and then you go through all these breaks and all that, and then you go to the last match lasting about 40 minutes or whatever it was, that normally can be in a situation where it seems like they bookend it and then it's a dead zone throughout the middle of it. And they had all these different promos and, these stupid Peacock commercial breaks that they just replaced with, hey, great, I'm paying for the no commercial version of this. So I get to see the Liv Morgan commercial instead. Great. I get to pay for commercials. Awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think And I don't want to go on a tangent about the bubble needing to burst, but the bubble needs to burst.
Yeah, the streaming bubble.
Peacock sucks. I say this all the time, but like the WWE Network as a Disney Plus-esque direct to your crazy fandom platform was brilliant. WWE just couldn't handle the fact that not a lot of people like WWE.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to.
That was the golden era, though, was the beginning of it when they were making their own TV shows. You know, they have like WWE Countdown and Table for Three and Ride Along and all these other kind of things. And they really made it worth the money. So, let's see. Carrie says everything wrong but Ronda and Shotzi. And good Lord, was that bad? I made my picks before the man came back, though. I think, I don't know for sure because Callum's not here to run it down. I think that based off of our breakdown, I think I won the fantasy league prediction thing for that, right?
Yeah, you did.
Because I got 3 right and everybody else got only 2 right, I think.
You got Theory and AJ Styles. And then I think we all had the same answer as else was.
Yeah, because Ronda, Styles, and Theory. Yeah.
Because we had the same answers for everything else.
Yeah. Woo.
We all thought. I could have tied it if I just had been like, well, I'm picking babyface to win 2 matches. I should probably pick the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Because I was dead sure that Becky was winning, and I was right.
Let's get into that, though. Peter says, I lost internet 3 times before the bell rang on the first match. Jeez. Yeah. At least it was before the match started. Because this was a good match. The women's WarGames match. And I'm not going to break down, Bianca starts off and then Nikki and then, all these kind of things. Because that would just take forever. But
shout out to the baby faces for being color coordinated. Including Bianca and Bliss wearing gear that they don't normally wear.
Including the color of the mist.
Yeah, even the color of the mist. Yeah. Some cliff notes from me. I think that they really went out of their way to make Rhea Ripley look like an absolute machine.
Mm-hmm.
Which is amazing how when certain people take over, and certain people said for years that Rhea Ripley was the future of the company, that she begins being booked like a machine. Io fucked up on the corner spot, and I feel bad for her because like wrestling in this environment is hard, I'm sure, and Massachusetts wasn't kind for a moment there. Alexa Bliss is so skinny. No, seriously, the fucking handcuffs. Nikki Cross tried to handcuff her.
That was a major moment for me to write down. Yeah, Nikki Cross gets out some handcuffs and she locks it in for Alexa, but she's so tiny that the handcuffs slip right off and she has to hold them.
Clear she's like forcing herself to stay handcuffed.
Yeah, because they slid down and they were 3/4 of the way into her arm.
I was scared.
They could have been like shoulder cuffs.
I was scared to death when Bianca dropped Becky on her head. And not Becky. Bianca dropped Bayley on her head. She was supposed to go for like a Hurricanrana and Bianca dropped her in a powerbomb. Scared to death. But Bayley seems fine.
Yeah. And they get some good spots here and there. Some good character things too, like Nikki just jumping on top of the cage and Rhea Ripley's doing pull-ups. I thought that was fun.
Good visual.
We got some good back and forth here and there and all that stuff. And Bianca is able to do like a double suplex, and you get Nikki Cross is the first one that brings weapons in because she's of course like the crazy one. So in typical fashion, she brings in kendo sticks and trash can lids, and the crowd chants, "We want tables," because they always do.
And as heels, the heels were right there to give the fans what they wanted, and they brought the tables. I want to credit them for this. They knew that that the men were going to use chairs, and they didn't use a single steel chair. And I thought that was cool.
I think that a lot of that is that they really, really like the kendo sticks for the women in particular.
Well, no, because I've seen the men overuse it too. I just think it's cool that with the exception of tables, they didn't overlap on any weapons, which is great.
Yeah, the trash can lids, the trash cans, and the ladders were only in the women's match. The kendo sticks was only in the women's match. Tables did go for both, but then again, yeah, like you said, the crowd always chants that anyway, so yeah. Emilio saying Bianca looks like she twisted her knee, catching Io with the moonsault. Hopefully nothing's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was scared for all of them, because they're all relatively fresh off it. Like, not all of them, but like a lot of them have been through injury, and like Bayley just came back and has landed on her fucking knee in the end of every single one of these matches. They have played into the knee thing, and that's scary when it's like, you're just out for 10 months. Can you not? Like, Becky just got back and she's jumping off of cages. So you have childhood hope. I hate that I'm at a stage of my life where I'm just like legitimately concerned for their health, as opposed to just watching them beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, you have to watch. So, like when we were watching the Saraya match, and we're just like, maybe you should stay home. See, Dane's in the chat. What's up, Dane? Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving, man. Everybody else as well. Tell us your thoughts on Thanksgiving. How'd you make out with that meal? No,
the meal was good. Turkey's great. A lot of people don't like turkey. I don't get why. It's fucking great.
Some other moments are out this that were some pretty standout things. Bianca Belair breaks a kendo stick across her leg. Struggled with it for a little bit, but she got it. Certainly I couldn't do it.
I don't think she needed to do that.
Well, it didn't serve any purpose because right afterward, everybody else is using kendo sticks. And it's like you could have just used that to hit somebody.
You slam Dewdrop like 50 times.
Yeah. But can she get her the next time?
I don't know. We're going to have to find out.
Nikki did a crossbody onto 5 different people.
They did the thing that I hate where they all just stop fighting and get together.
Yeah. We had the moonsault from Io off the top of the cage. Another good, okay, she's going to do the moonsault. You got to cross that off the list.
That was a really good spot, especially after Bianca had just landed Bayley on her head. I was, again, petrified for that.
And then it all ends with Becky doing a leg drop off the cage through the table and pinning Dakota Kai. And I don't think this was the right decision.
Why? What?
I'm going to repeat this for later on.
Go listen to the preview podcast. What did I tell you was going to happen? Becky's going to beat Dakota. And that's before they even announced Becky.
My thing is, and I'm going to repeat this for the other one too, I don't think you set up the next thing. I think that they kind of don't realize that they need to have more challengers. And now we're at a point where it's like, who's going to fight Bianca? If you don't just go straight to Charlotte Flair right now, you're going to have to do some rehab. Because somebody like Rhea, her team just lost. She could have won this. And instead you're going with the celebrate with Becky Lynch thing. But I don't want to see Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. So how are you going to set up the heels? They just lost. It cannot be another damage control thing. And Nikki, nobody's going to buy into that. So Rhea needs to now somehow win enough matches to offset that she lost this.
Well, first of all, no. Rhea literally just has to go, I never got the shot that I earned. Period. I'm your challenger. That's it.
But she's not going to look like she's actually going to beat Bianca. It's just going to be that she's fighting for it.
I don't know. I think that they set up very very easily that she beat Becky easy. Becky couldn't hurt her. She hit her with the what's that move? The Riptide. And then it was over if someone didn't fly in and break up the pin. I think you can do Becky versus Rhea on Raw if you wanted and just say, okay, cool. Rhea will get the shot at some point in December or at the Rumble, or because what makes it hard now for everyone we're about to talk about, the Rumble is not for another 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H era or no, they have proven they're still doing the same old shit of waiting till the last second for everything. I have no interest in 2 months. I'm going to make it sound like I hated the show, but I did not. I have no interest in watching 2 months of
fallout from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We're going to the Rumble. It's like, I don't. That's why I want December pay-per-views. Because it's like, we're not in the Hogan era where you have a 1 hour show on Saturday where people fight jobbers. Like, you have 5 hours of main roster programming. All that to say, though, that I think you're wrong. I think this was the absolute right decision to do. And if you want to do Rhea, that they have a ready-made story. If you want to do, if you want to do Becky on like a Christmas episode of Raw, I don't know if Christmas falls on a Monday, but if it does, if you want to just run that back, there's options. But I'm going to repeat this line that I repeated for the last 4 pay-per-views now and say, you wouldn't have this fucking problem if you just put the belt on Bayley. Well, okay, you chuckle, but what has Damage Control established?
Well, in the chat, one of the comments, Peter, Damage Control is damaged goods. That's true.
It's not like I get the pun, good pun, great job, Peter, but it's not like all Bayley did was put over Bianca another fucking 3 months in a row, which is exactly what she did
last time
before she left because she was injured. What is the point?
We're gonna repeat that a couple times, I think.
You really couldn't fucking have Bianca lose, and that's the thing is, I'm glad Becky was in this match, Tony, because it put the spotlight on another babyface. Because I swear to God, if Bianca scored the win again, it's going to become frustrating. People aren't saying it now because I think we're still in a phase where they're afraid to. But it's going to start feeling like Bianca's being shoved down our throats.
Well, Emilio's got a good point. He says they probably just want to make Becky look strong for Ronda.
And I am winner. Look, you guys know how I feel about that. We did a whole fucking side podcast because I said you have to do Ronda and Becky. And we're going to talk about Ronda and how garbage her entire run has been.
Yeah. But to follow that up, Dane's like LOL Shotzi was the number 1 contender. I'm sure they can figure it out. That's not a good precedent, though. That's the thing.
No, it's fucking ridiculous that they couldn't just give the belt to Bayley. You know what you could be doing right now? Bayley Becky at the Royal Rumble. You know what you could be doing right now? Bayley fights Michin or Mia Yim. I don't know what they're calling her both. They're calling
her Michin, Mia Yim. Yeah.
You could be doing Bayley versus Candice if she's healthy. You could do Nikki Cross. Like, there's options. You just chose to go with Bianca for 4 months in a row. And now here's what I would do to rebuild Bayley. No one asked, but I'm telling you. She has to come out on Raw. And she's the only person I want to see do this. She can declare for the Royal Rumble. And say, for 2 months, just go, and I'm going to be number 1 in the Royal Rumble because I'm going to show this whole division that this division is built on my back. And I'm going to run through everybody and do what I haven't gotten the chance to do yet, headline WrestleMania. That's all you need to do with Bayley at this point. You do I feel disgraced. I feel like crestfallen. I'm winning the Royal Rumble, and I'm entering at number 1. That's what I do with Bayley. As far as Bianca, it feels like it's Rhea. Do Rhea and Mia Yim in 3-way. That's a match people haven't seen. And then you can keep the singles matches fresh for when you need to do something at the Royal Rumble or at Elimination Chamber.
I do feel like they probably think we've got 2 months before we need to do the next title match for sure. So we have plenty of time to figure out something to build her back up. And that's not untrue, but at the same time, every time that you take something away from somebody, you have to do twice as much to get back to where you were before. Like, one step back, doesn't mean you take one step forward and you've advanced. You just get back to where you were, depending on if that's even a big enough step. Sometimes the steps, and we're going to talk about this about another thing, sometimes you take a step back, and that's way further back than the step you took forward to try to balance it out. So I am thinking more so, I don't think that this was the right call. I would have gone with Rhea Ripley scoring the win for her team. But I'm also going to echo that later on.
That's so fucking lame. Like, here's my issue with that. That's so lame. Because, like I complained about on previous shows, you just gave Mia Yim an opponent. I mean, you just gave Rhea Ripley an opponent in Mia Yim. It's so lame.
I would have had her pin Bianca.
Yeah, I know that. But, like, then you're just shitting on Mia Yim.
Ted says, give Shotzi the Rusev WrestleMania tag. There's worse things they could do with Shotzi, like, let her do this match the way that it was.
You want to... I know we're not going... That wouldn't be chronological, but I'd be okay with going straight to that match.
Yeah, let's just talk about it. That match was terrible in a lot of ways.
It was very awkward.
It's not the worst match that's ever existed for anybody that thinks that you have to talk about extremes all the time. There has been worse matches than that, but this was bad. And we were talking about how this was going to be the case beforehand. We were like, Yeah,
that's why I'm not too mad about it.
I didn't expect it to be anything great. And we had talked like the Shayna Baszler match was really rough and something's just off about Shotzi, and Ronda doesn't really seem to work really, really well unless she's with somebody who can carry the match and all. But this was bad on multiple different levels. One of them being the crowd was apparently chanting, "We want Sasha." And then they just decided we're going to turn off the crowd mic and we're just going to have generic audience noise, which was blatantly obvious because you could look into the crowd and nobody's making any noise in the first, 4 or 5 rows.
Noise, but I am a fan of shutting up the crowd. I'm not being funny. I am a fan of, like, when people try to hijack shows sometimes, just turn them off.
I say let them do it, because if you are in a position that they feel the need to do that, it's your fault anyway. You should be doing something good enough to make them go, you know what, I'm going to keep cheering then. Because we've seen plenty of matches where people are like... We've also
seen like where the Raw after Mania became an internal meme.
Yeah. But then again, that's also because people had more fun doing that. You give them a good enough segment, they're going to be paying attention. This wasn't one of those. You got the terrible eye makeup on Ronda Rousey. Again, I don't know why they keep doing that. Sloppy moves. I don't know what the one move even was supposed to be. It was Shotzi was like flipping over the ropes and Ronda just sort of casually fell off the apron. And what that was like, was she trying to go for like a tilt-a-whirl DDT or something on the outside, or like a neck breaker or something? I don't know. They did a whole thing with like fake audience members being out there, and Shotzi jumps into Shayna and Rousey, and they fall into the audience people.
Yeah, but I thought that was all fine. That was all fine. Like, I'm not mad about this. I'm more so mad, as maybe hypocritical this is for me, because I don't like what they're doing with Roman in terms of him not being full-time. I'm shocked they're bothering to have Ronda full-time. And I almost feel like it's devaluing her at this point. Because it's not 2018, 2019, where we're really excited about women's wrestling, and she's got this match with Nikki Bella and a match with this one that she can do, and we're telling a story with Alexa, and we're telling a story with Nia Jax. It's just Ronda's better than every one of these single women, and no one poses a threat. And I kind of feel like she's just becoming another WWE superstar.
I'm going to repeat the same thing that I've been saying the entire time since she came back. I don't think she should have came back. I think everything that she's done since her return has been lesser of what we've already seen. A lot of copy and pasting. And very much in that sort of tone that you see with certain sequels in movies where they're like, let's do what we saw before, but not as good. There hasn't been a single thing that Ronda Rousey's done since she returned and she won the Royal Rumble that I've actually, like, you know how we do those like Smark's Choice and it's like, oh, you got to erase somebody from history. And, you know, normally we'll have like Macho Man Randy Savage or Mick Foley and you're like, man, I don't want to erase either of those two guys. If you could say erase this entire run from Ronda Rousey, I don't think you lose a damn thing.
Yeah, I think that she should have come back. You're never going to ever hear me say that Ronda shouldn't have come back. You're never going to ever hear me say that she shouldn't have fought Charlotte. And you're never going to hear me say that she shouldn't fight Becky. I just think that they needed to be more to the point.
You'll hear me say it. I don't think you need those separate matches.
Yeah, we've had this discussion and we will have it a million times leading up to Mania, except if they don't do the match, in which case I will just spontaneously combust because there's no reason not to. I said this in the Triple Threat article on SparkMMO.com. You need to get to this Becky match. I don't care what you do after it. You need to get there. Now, granted, maybe the fact that Sasha ended up not wanting to work with her, if that was the planned match, maybe that hurt things a bit. I think this was one of the only cases where I wanted the Raw versus SmackDown thing, because we all assumed we were getting Bianca and Ronda, which would have been one of the fun matches that we want to see Ronda have. And again, it's the same case as Bianca. There's people for her to fight, but they're insisting on separating these divisions, and they're killing everyone in the process. So now it's looking like you got two champions and no challengers.
That's one of my issues, because you know that Ronda Rousey's not going to lose until Mania, so why bother paying any attention to anything that's happening until April for the SmackDown Women's Division? What, Raquel comes back and has a match and loses? Who cares?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of who cares, it won't matter till Mania, and that's something that I'm desperately hoping that by 2024 we're not talking about that anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, Shotzi loses as expected.
Also, super fucked up that Shotzi's coming out there like she just lost her stepfather and her father in the past year. And she's like, this is for you guys. And I'm like, don't do that when you know she's going to really go down hard. And she did. Ronda hit a top rope judo throw. And then she hit the Piper's Pit. And then she tapped her out. Like, clean as a whistle. I feel bad for her. But
I mean, like we said in the preview side of things, we want Shotzi to be in a better position and to not have this criticism make sense. But criticism makes sense. Like, she's not been booked well. Right. And then now that she's being booked in a better spot, she's flopping in these matches. So it's kind of giving off the impression that maybe she shouldn't be in that position again, you know?
I thought this was a better match than some of this, you know, I have on SmackDown.
I think it's about on par. Ted says, put Ronda Rousey and Bianca Belair in a match for both titles and let Belair embarrass her, take both titles, and have Belair drop one of the titles to Rhea.
Okay, we need to have this side conversation. We have to get over this thing, guys, where we're just insisting that they're going to split the belts again spontaneously, because they haven't split the men, they haven't talked about it, and they haven't talked about it for the tag teams. I don't think they're splitting the belts. I think if you merge the women's belts, just have one champion. It's okay. It's okay to have one champion. I also believe it's okay to have a merged roster. And it's okay to cut an hour off of Raw. Like, you need to cut back.
Not only would I do that, I would also cut back on maybe you don't have main event, and maybe
you can't find me caring that much.
Yeah, I mean, I do. The more that we get certain booking strategies, and the closer we get to Mania, without them splitting things up, the more I'm thinking there's a good chance that they combine the women's titles before they split the other titles back up again. Triple H might like that idea of like one roaming champion between them. And then they just end up doing what they did before, which I didn't like, for the record. But when we didn't have the brand split for those few years, for some reason they had one women's champion. They had the one world champion for the men. They had the one tag team titles. And then they had the two mid-card titles. And it was like, why do you have the two of these?
Why does that bother you?
Because why do you have two of those and you have one of everything else? Why not?
Because you have a European championship, because you have a tertiary belt, so that, opener guys have a belt to fight for too.
I don't like it. Why are they the Intercontinental in the United States?
Because they're just names.
Yeah, they're just stupid names. That's why I hate it. I'm like, these are just extra belts. So then why don't you just make the Raw Women's Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship instead of having the women's mid-card title or something? Like if you're just going to...
Yeah, I'm not going to agree with you on that. I think the Raw Tag Team Champion, I think that's lazy as fuck. You couldn't think of a name?
Amelia says they're not splitting them at very least until Roman drops them. Yeah, I mean... The
Rock. I just want to say, I've mentioned that I won't mention The Rock, but I will say... The Rock feels less and less likely, doesn't it?
The Rock was at least the one that unveiled that new championship design. Maybe they would do that.
They might have him do it again. But he does feel less and less likely to me.
Seems a little weird. Yeah. Do you guys think Ronda is a dark cloud over the women's division?
No.
Not a dark cloud, just an unnecessary distraction.
It's not Ronda Rousey's fault that the WWE women's division went through a hard decline in recent years.
I think they've got all the talent there. They just don't want to focus on new people. They only really seem to really push a handful of talents. And then you get the same matches all over again. So
they made a weird choice to just stop going with wrestlers in the middle of their women's wrestling evolution. And they got left with what they got left with.
So let's backtrack a little bit. Let's go to AJ Styles against Finn Balor. I have nothing to say about this match except for it was fine in the ring because they're good talents.
It was a really good match in terms of it's been Finn Balor and AJ Styles. Of course it is. I said this on the previous show. You're not going to get me to complain. It's still Finn Balor and AJ Styles, and that's exactly what they delivered. We're still Finn Balor and AJ Styles. We had a great match. AJ won, which is good, I guess, because he apparently, did you know this? Hasn't won anything.
Since 2019?
Hasn't won a singles match since he beat Humberto Carrillo at Crown Jewel in 2019, and hasn't won a pay-per-view since Money in the Bank last year when he won with Omos. Insane. But yeah, AJ Styles won. That's a guy I'd like to see fight Roman Reigns.
They're missing out on some of these feuds with Roman Reigns. It seems like they almost don't want to have him wrestle anybody.
Because they're keeping him on fucking SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I go, well, if you're going to do that, then yes, you should have never merged the belts.
Yep.
But
that's that whole philosophy that Vince has in particular, where it's like, yeah, but if it was title for title, then that's a bigger thing. And then you go, what are you going to do after it? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I agree with that statement. It's just that, you have, on the men's roster, it's the exact opposite of the women. You have some of your best stars in the twilight of their careers run these fucking matches. You should have run that Randy Orton match. Now he might not come back. You should have run that AJ Styles match. You don't know when he's done. Run that Finn Balor match. You don't know when he's done. You know, like, run these matches.
AJ, I heard the stat earlier today. AJ's too good to be floundering. Ted says in the chat. Yep. Yeah, agreed. United States title match happened next, and this was starting off pretty interesting with this Beyblade advertisement during Theory's entrance.
That's the thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, hell that was about.
Because in the middle of Austin Theory's entrance, they're running a Beyblade ad. It's like, okay. My short and sweet thoughts. Very weird for 5 seconds because the opening of the match was, haha, we're gonna punk out Theory. And then they did the thing that you thought they were gonna do, and they just sort of had Theory stumble into a victory. So I now believe we have walked today full fucking circle and accomplished nothing.
Yeah. So
that is an issue. That
spoiler
is a major issue.
Spoiler for my Bleach Report article that'll go up at 8 in the morning. I'm gonna write up that this was a mixed bag thing because it's good that he won the title if you're trying to offset all the bad things that you've done in the past recent couple weeks. But it's bad because you shouldn't have done any of those things in the past couple weeks just to lead to this because it doesn't offset it. And if you wanted to have him win the title, why the hell didn't he just win the cash-in? Why did you have him fail the cash-in, look like an idiot, and then win this match on a fluke? This doesn't make Theory look like the future. It makes it look like he might stumble ass backwards into a championship in the future, maybe.
I'm gonna suggest that the John Cena thing might be back on.
And it's gonna be Cena against Theory for the United States title.
He's calling himself the Now, and I could just see it being like, my time is now, and then just boom, and that's how you get to the match. Because we're still in a bit of a lazy booking pattern. I mean, as much as I love it, the top storyline spawned from a joke. Where it was like, yeah, I guess we'll put Sami Zayn with the Bloodline for a couple months. Like, I don't know. I'm a little salty, more salty than usual tonight, but I didn't like this. Fuck this. You walked in a circle.
He's back.
For what?
He's back in the position that he was at this point or around this point last year, but with less credibility going into it.
Exactly.
After being Mr. Money in the Bank.
And I literally said, what did I tell you the other day? Do not do, hey, we gave him the Money in the Bank to compensate for losing the U.S. title. Hey, we gave him the U.S. title to compensate for losing Money in the Bank. God fucking damn it.
Mm-hmm. Like, why didn't you just have him stay United States champion then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I thought the match itself was pretty fine. But this doesn't make me have a whole lot of faith that in the future that they're going in the right direction for it, because they made him look worse just so he can take that mini step forward. You're not balancing it out. And you're definitely not taking him further strides. He's still in negatives right now for me. Winning that United States title, it's better than if he wouldn't have. But you don't punch me in the face and then stomp my foot and then say I'm sorry and then go, well, it's better than if I didn't say I'm sorry, right? Be like, yeah, but why did you fucking hit me? You know, like, don't do that in the first place. Have him win the Money in the Bank, cash in. And then he looks like, yeah, some people are still going to complain and they're still going to say, like, why did he win the mid-card title? But then you go, hey, at least he won it. And then we're talking about an alternate theory where we go, I mean, what? They could have been worse.
Austin Theory.
Okay, yeah, alternate theory is his brother. We could be talking about an alternate universe where it's like, well, I mean, it could have been worse. I mean, he could have lost the cash in and then he could have just won the United States title a couple weeks later by falling down on Rollins, right? And then you go, they wouldn't do that. And then you go, oh, look at that, they did it.
Yeah, I don't like it. Like, it's, again, good show. But when we're talking about just pure booking decisions, It's not been a strong one, except for the main event, which I really, really liked.
Ted saying supposedly Drew was going to be in theory for the WWE Championship at UK pay-per-view Clash to cancel, but it got canceled because it was too confusing. That was always a theory that had been going around now. And at this point, since none of that did happen, you have to kind of call into question whether or not that was part of the plan and then they changed it, or if that was just like bad hearsay or something. As far as I know, there hasn't been any confirmation that that definitely was something that they were thinking about doing.
Yeah, I think that people are overthinking in the same way that people are obsessed with like, oh, the Wyatt Six and blah, blah, blah. I think people are overthinking, well, Roman's going to lose one of those belts to Kevin Owens. And then it's like, let them get there. Let them get there, because you're going to make yourself feel annoyed and angry for assuming what you think they're going to do.
So let's go into the main event here, the men's WarGames match, Bloodline against the Brawling Brutes team. Again, not going to break down, Jey Uso gets Butch and then this person and that person and all that, but some of the standout moments here. Throughout the whole night, they were teasing this whole idea that based off of what happened on SmackDown, where Kevin Owens was talking to Sami Zayn, and he said, you should turn on the Bloodline before the Bloodline turns on you. And Jey Uso knew that he was saying that, and Sami Zayn said that he wasn't talking to anybody, so it's like, all right, loyalty's in question again. Let's repeat that story for like the fourth time or so. And then Roman says, I'm going to look him in the face, and I'm going to see if he's lying. Sami Zayn talks to him. Roman Reigns is okay with it, but clearly isn't, because you got to just keep that teasing the same thing over and over and, treading water. But I really like this one little touch here. Jey Uso starts it off because he's supposed to be the right-hand man. And Butch starts it off because he has the most experience in the WarGames match. I'm like, you know what? Makes sense. And Holland comes out because he is Butch's tag team partner. And you want to build a little bit more. You want to get the bigger names towards the end. Makes perfect sense. And Jimmy Uso is planning to come out next, but Roman stops him and tells Sami Zayn to go out there and to help Jey Uso. Very good little touch there. You're testing the loyalty. You two that can't get along have to go get along now. Like Daddy Roman Reigns teaching those two kids that they got to play together.
First of all, why is Roman Reigns allowed to sit in the cage?
He's a big dog.
I loved everything about this match because it proves like why the Tribal Chief angle worked to begin with. It's all about character development, and there was so much character development here. There's some little tweaks I have issues with. For example, the story was never Sami doesn't want to be in the Bloodline. He's not loyal. No, the story was we don't trust this outsider. He doesn't deserve to be with us. The fact that they kind of did a 24-hour storyline where it became maybe he's just going to turn on them is very impressive. But it should never happen. And the other thing I'll get to in a little bit as you run down the match.
Yeah, so we got like some steel chairs brought in, some tables brought in. One by one, everybody goes through. We got like a white noise to Solo Sikoa, etc., etc. Tribal Chief comes in, starts beating everybody. They did a 5 simultaneous 10 beats of the Bowen, so the 50 beats instead. I like that. That was cool. And, Finisher City. You get some spears that are broken up, some super kicks that are broken up, and all this. Jey Uso accidentally super kicked Sami Zayn. Another little moment of, is that going to be the problem? Is that going to be the thing that makes them lose a match, etc.? Ridge gets speared through a table. Owens hits a stunner on Solo Sikoa, gets a 2 count. They have a whole thing going on with the pop-up powerbomb and a stunner, and Sami prevents the referee from counting to 3. Then he low blows Kevin Owens.
Well, he stops them. They look at each other. They haven't hit each other once. He catches he being Kevin Owens pronouns. He catches a Jey Uso super kick. And then Sami low blows him. And then he's conflicted. And then he haluva kicks him. And then he offers him up to Jay. And once they win, hugs all around. Right? Great stuff. My one issue with this, you fucking fight with Kevin Owens every other month. Like, why is this? Oh my God, but that's best friend. You fight him all the time. He fucking tried to kill you that one time. Remember that? I remember that. Like, what does this make you a bad guy? Is it me? Like, no, seriously, Tony, is it me? Like,
no, it's the selective history thing that they do.
They fought 2 years ago. Logan Paul was there.
They were also supposed to have their final match ever, and then about 2 weeks later, they had the next other match.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. See what I mean? Selective history. So that's
my salty moment. That like we're doing this storyline, which is good, but it's also like, come on, you fought each other so much.
My thing is, I get why they had this happen, because in their mind, they were telling this story of the Sami Zayn's turn not being a thing and maybe being a thing, and it isn't a thing and all that. They felt that was like the big thing going on. But again, I go, Roman Reigns could have lost this match without losing this match, and he wouldn't have lost anything at all.
I thought of a really cool one as the match was happening. I was like, they all have a lot of really good chemistry with Roman. Maybe Roman, it should have been said, like, if we win, you have to defend your title against all of us. Because they have a lot of really good chemistry.
What, like a gauntlet match or something?
No, like, they all get individual title shots.
I mean, anything like that. Like, now we're at another position, the same as with the women's match. These guys just lost. I don't think you need to spend the next 2 months setting up the same people fighting again, where we're getting the Brawling Brutes against the Usos and Solo Sikoa, or the Brawling Brutes against the Usos and Sami Zayn, so that Sheamus can score a pin over Sami Zayn, and then it can lead into, I think that I deserve a title match now because I won this match that doesn't mean anything on SmackDown.
Sheamus is absolutely getting a match.
Seems like he should. Yeah.
I think Drew should get a match. I think Butch should get a match. Everybody not named Ridge Holland in that ring should get a match with Roman Reigns.
So it's like, why couldn't Sheamus have pinned Jimmy Uso or something? And then that way they use that as a justification for it. And the only reason I can think of outside of that, they are just so tunnel visioned with this, like, we gotta push the Roman thing. The only other reason I can think of is that they feel like they need to spend the rest of December and a good part of January. And they're like, we need content for those weeks. So we need to have no number one contenders set up because we need to have number one contenders championship eliminator type matches. And then that stuff is like, yeah, I get it. You want to do that on SmackDown. You want to do that on Raw because you think that that's going to be something that's going to boost the ratings. The ratings never really get boosted from that for the most part. People don't want to watch the match that's going to determine who's going to, whether or not, it's not even who's going to win because it's a babyface against a heel and you know it's going to be the babyface if it's a heel champion. People don't really care too much about the babyface potentially winning a match that's a non-title match against somebody who's not the champion to set up that they're going to get the title shot that we all know that they're going to get. They care if it's like, if you did something like Kevin Owens versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus in a no DQ elimination match for number one contender shot. Then people would care because they don't know who's going to win that and because it's got a gimmick attached to it.
Here's when they care. I'm going to take you back to 2016 real quick. Roman just won the belt from Triple H. Oh shit, we're doing AJ Styles, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, and X, I think it was Sami, in a number one contenders match. You know? Like, that's when people care, when it's like, oh, this is fresh, this is new.
Mm-hmm.
It's not when, there's a given here.
Right, because if they do Sheamus against Sami Zayn, for instance, and if he beats Sami Zayn, then he gets the title shot down the line against Roman, everybody goes, oh, this is a SmackDown where Sheamus becomes number one contender. Okay. And then what happens next week? Next week, they cut a promo about how he wants to beat Roman Reigns. And then the week after that, Roman Reigns cuts a promo about how he's not going to beat him. And then the third week after that, they have their match and Roman retains. So why watch the next 3 weeks of SmackDown? That's the thing that's frustrating when they kind of feel like they need to stretch everything out, because this match could have led to something like that. And then you could have had, maybe if you even want to stretch it out, you don't want to do the match next episode of SmackDown. But on the next episode of SmackDown, you go, all right, that team won WarGames. So on the next episode of SmackDown, Sheamus is getting a title shot. And if that's not good enough, and you don't know how to stretch your stories out in a way that's going to keep things interesting, and the only thing you're stretching it out for is length rather than like the story continues, you're not good writers. Ultimately, that's what that comes down to. So I'm like, man, I don't know if I really want to watch 8 weeks worth of setting up who's going to fight Roman at the Royal Rumble. Because you know those 8 weeks. You know what they're going to be.
Who do you think should fight Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble?
At this point, they're not going to do it. But I think that you need to get Sheamus out of the way, and you need to get Kevin Owens out of the way, and you need to get Drew out of the way, and you need to have somebody else fight him.
I think it should be Seth Rollins.
Ted says, Scripps is ready for the call-up. Have him face Roman.
Fuck you.
I don't know if Scripps is going to be ready for anything. I think that they might have to ditch him after this last week.
You can't just ditch the script, honey.
You can flip the script at the very least.
Yeah,
you might have to rip it up. Emilio says maybe Seth. Yeah. Like, they could do...
should be in the drama class and chase you. I just want to put that out there. What they should do. He's a fucking theater kid.
I mean, I was a theater kid for high school. I don't remember anybody wearing those masks. But some weird people through it, but... But, I mean, if you look at Survivor Series WarGames in a bubble, were the matches overall fun? Yeah, outside of one of them. But I still think that they made the wrong decision about 2 of those. I still think one of them, the Theory situation, is kind of like, you set yourself up for this and it's really weird. The Shotzi match I thought was bad. And then the Styles and Balor thing, that feud's been limping on forever. So I just, I didn't care about that. And I'm going to echo what I had said originally before, where I said, I think by the end of this pay-per-view, this is what I'm going to think. And it is true. I think they should have kept the elimination matches. I don't think Survivor Series should be WarGames. This should have been the type of thing that you have at something like Crown Jewel.
Why can't you do both?
Because you don't need 2 gimmicks in that.
You want WarGames in Saudi Arabia? You can't do that.
I mean, not necessarily Saudi Arabia, but like they could have done that for Extreme Rules, for instance.
I think Survivor Series works best to me as elimination match. Look, if I'm being honest, I want a full-blown old-school Survivor Series.
I want the teams that give themselves those nicknames having an elimination match.
Like, I want full-blown, like, everybody's...
Gang warfare.
It's all tag team matches. It's all these teams that you would never see in a million years, but it's Survivor Series, so let's just fucking do it. That's what I'd book Survivor Series, but I would absolutely do WarGames when it's necessary.
Yeah, only on a pay-per-view that you feel like you need it. Not that it's November.
I think you do it at Survivor Series. I don't think you do it every year. But I think it's a Survivor Series match. Because you have to survive. It's WarGames.
So you would go more for you switch the Survivor Series thing, and instead of it being 1 pinfall and the team wins, you'd have an elimination side of it? Well, like, now the WarGames have begun, and then kind of like
you could do it like that.
A little bit like the deadline thing that's coming up.
You could do it like that. You could also just do like, hey, we're this year because let's say to throw out 2 teams because the Bloodline and Legado del Fantasma have been beating each other up on site every week, we're going to do WarGames. And it's Survivor Series because it's teams fighting to survive.
Then you're doing the same thing that happens with Hell in a Cell, though, aren't you? Where 3 weeks before Hell in a Cell, these people are fighting and it just happens to be Hell in a Cell time, so let's put them in a Hell in a Cell match.
I don't know. They tried. I don't think it was a failure. I didn't realize that the event was now called Survivor Series WarGames. I thought it was just like...
You didn't realize that?
I thought it was just Survivor Series.
You haven't been doing coverage of this for the past 10 weeks?
You know what, Tony? I've had a very long 2 weeks. How about that? Okay.
The amount of times I've had to type that out, I'm like, WWE Survivor Series WarGames 2022. You know.
I didn't realize, because every time I do it, I type Survivor Series 2022. I did not do WarGames. And then I look on Peacock and they're like, yeah, Survivor Series WarGames. What? Okay.
So Emilio says that on the press conference, they asked Triple H if they're going to do WarGames every year, and he just said that we'll see. Which I guess is the most diplomatic answer, because he can't be like, yep. But I would assume he probably thinks that he would continue it next year. I don't know.
I think he's smart enough to know. I'll do it when I need to do it. If I need to do it in September, I'll do it in September. If I need to do it, if I need to do it at Judgment Day, or they don't do that anymore. If I need to do it at Payback, I'll do it at Payback. I'll do that. You know what I mean?
And all the other ones that you don't remember how to do the coverage for.
Listen, it's pay-per-view in May is what I was getting at. If you need to do it in May, you do it in May. If you need to do it in June,
WrestleMania backlash?
Backslash?
WrestleMania // insert backspace. Yeah. CTRL. Damage CTRL. There you go. Get that old Simpsons joke.
Still mad that Bayley didn't win 2 months ago, quite frankly. I think this is ridiculous. Where do you go from here?
And that's my big thing that I'm going to be typing out in a big article. I'm going to say that, I don't know.
3-hour Raw with no Roman Reigns.
You're going to have a 3-hour Raw that mostly is, and this is going to be incredibly frustrating. And I actually might, not to go through a whole lot of stuff, but even the past weekend, I have much more of a perception of, I don't know if I want to put in the effort when I don't get the effort back in return for certain people and certain things.
Yeah,
and
same.
Yeah. The holidays, that's what they do. And
no, obviously I would never mean that in the direction of any of you beautiful people at SmackDown Movement. But
no, exactly. That's why when you guys go oh man, we love the mock drafts, we're like, fuck yeah, we want to do more of them, But when it comes to, hey, let's meet up, and then it's like, no, I don't want to, or something. But you're like, okay, well, you motherfucker, I'm only here for a little bit, or when it comes
very
to
specific.
I could get more specific. But the idea being, I know that Raw isn't going to be good. This isn't going to be one of those Raw episodes where they completely change the game and they get a whole bunch of matches announced and we're going to get a title change and whatever. I know what we're going to get with Monday Night Raw. We're going to get 3 hours worth of repeating the clips from before and hearing the same Ozzy Osbourne song with still images of the EO moonsault and whatever. And I'm just going to be I've listened to this song enough. I've grown to dislike it because they keep repeating it as much as they have. And they're going to go, Bianca Belair's team is going to cut a promo about how they won at WarGames. And then they're all going to come out individually. And there's this 15, 20-minute segment of, we had a really tough fight ahead of us for WarGames, but I knew that we could all get together and we could all win and whatever. And then Asuka's going to do her dance and, they're going to do that kind of thing. And then the heels are going to come out. Yeah, well, you know what? This isn't over yet and all this. And Austin Theory will have a backstage segment where Mega Morant or who does the backstage interviews on Raw now?
Kathy Kelly.
Where's Sarah Schreiber, by the way?
What up?
Like, I haven't heard a single thing about her being released or anything. She's just kind of gone. I don't know. It's question marks. But, Kathy Kelly will be backstage and she'll...
on digital.
Maybe that is where she is. Maybe they just kind of positioned her to the, Bottom Line and Afterburn and all those shows that I don't know. But, Kathy's going to interview Austin Theory and he's going to be, see, I told you that I'm not just the future. I'm the now because I am your new United States champion. All
right. Spoilers, bro.
Give me extra points if it has the exact same cadence as that.
I'm pretty sure it's going to have the exact same cadence.
Yeah, and so I might tomorrow. Or no, not tomorrow because today's Saturday. So no, technically it's 12:20 a.m. So tomorrow, on Monday, I might record the episode and skip through 75% of it because I don't think I need to watch that same exact thing again. I don't think I need to have Bobby Lashley say that he's mad that he should have had that match won, and the only reason that Austin Theory won is because he did his move and whatever, and then he wants to win that title back and whatever again. Got a feeling probably by the end of the episode of Monday Night Raw, it's probably going to be like maybe one or two things to talk about, and it's not going to be all that much important. And then we'll get we're going to hear more from the Bloodline on SmackDown when they address that they won their WarGames match. And then 20 minutes worth of the intro is the Bloodline coming out, and Roman Reigns is going to go, I knew that I could trust Sami. All that. So then we'll go on to the week after that.
Since we're here, let's talk about this. I don't want another fucking creepy Bray Wyatt. Oh, look, I have a hidden clue.
You know how I feel about that.
And I have a personal take on this, and I think we won't know until years from now. But I think this will be a lot better. The Wyatt stuff will be a lot better when it's easily digestible, and you can watch all the segments fluidly instead of here's 5 seconds and then you gotta wait 10 days for another 5 seconds. I think it'll play out as a better story when you can watch it all.
It's just going to be for a video package, you mean? And you can cut out all of his 10-minute entrances.
Essentially, but less maliciously said than that.
Yeah, I don't know. If the big game plan is just a feud with LA Knight.
Okay, he's got to start somewhere.
Maybe start at the end of the story. Do one of those things where it's like the beginning of Sonic.
I would have put the match on here. It would have been a fucking reason to tune in if you
haven't seen Bray Wyatt wrestle in such a long time and you want to see him finally step in the ring. Yeah. Well, in the meantime, that is the Survivor Series talk that we got. If you want us to know that you like us and all that other good stuff, then hit that like button. Make sure that you toss a little spare change our way when it comes to different ways to support the channel, like the join button that you can find there on YouTube, which will give you access to the same things as the Patreon, patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. You got Redbubble and TeePublic if you want to pick up some merchandise. Somebody, for instance, just bought one of those Kennedy shirts the other day. I'm like, oh man, that's an old school joke. I'm always surprised when those kind of get sold. But
maybe they think you're like referencing JFK.
Maybe, but
that ever happens to the Kennedys.
But either the same person bought another shirt, or another person at the exact same time bought one of the Cheap Heat designs, which was everybody is an idiot but me. Like, I always liked those. I thought they were fun. Ted says, I think you guys are terrific. Thank you, Ted. I think you are terrific in return for that.
You're beautiful, breathtaking. That's what he said.
We got that thanks button out there too. If you want to hit that up, we got the Darkcast and Pick Your Poison tier and everything on the Patreon, and the members only content on the channel membership. And of course, hit that share button if you want to pass this along. And follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. Go to smarkoutmoment.com and see everything that's happening there. We will give you an update next week about the Fantasy League when I figure out who I want to double the points for over the course of the next 2 months. I think it's what Callan had said.
You jerk.
I think it was that it's going to carry on and up until Royal Rumble. So, and the next pay-per-view point is going to be bitch, because it is going to be ROH Final Battle at the exact same time as NXT Deadline. So I don't know what we're going to do with that one, folks.
You're going to hear... I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of apathy in the next few weeks.
I mean, even just as far as that night goes, December 10th, because I'm going to have to do live coverage for 2 pay-per-views at the same time.
See, but that's the thing. I'm not even talking about our, work. I'm just talking...
just like life in general.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of apathy. I think...
Holiday blues.
It's just going to be dude, no one cares if Cesaro joins the JAS.
Yeah, I'm not into that story. I'm not into...
Didn't we just do this story? I think we just did this story with and if MJF wins, he can go into the Inner Circle. Was that 2 years ago already? Fuck. Jesus.
We will talk about those things, though. We will do 2 pay-per-view points for this. And we will do what I'm assuming right now at this point. I don't know if this is going to work, but I mean, the pay-per-views are happening at the same time. So I'm thinking what's going to happen is I'm going to watch them both. I'm going to have...
You don't say.
My 2 TVs on at the same time and then my computer monitor. And I will be bouncing back and forth. And then I think we're going to have one post show that's going to be talking about both of them.
I'm okay with that.
I don't think I'm going to be why don't we record the one and then record the other one? Because I don't think that really is going to work all that much. I think it's just going to be the ROH Final Battle and NXT Deadline pay-per-view post show. And we'll probably pay half as much attention to each match because each match is going to be happening at the same time as another one. So it's going to be a lot of just breaking down what actually happened. This person won this match, that kind of thing. But that'll be a first, doing 2 pay-per-views at the same time like that. So, hey, that might be kind of fun. I don't know. I might be pulling my hair out. And that'll be the only pay-per-view type content that currently is listed for the rest of the month, the rest of the year, I should say, until we get to Royal Rumble or something from AEW. I don't know. I think that they don't have anything before Royal Rumble anyway. So that is at least coming up with that. But we do have other things coming up over the course of the next few weeks. We're going to be doing some kind of a main event next week that's not pay-per-view related. I don't know if that is going to be a mock draft of the Survivor Series team members. I don't know if that's going to be something else if we think of it in the meantime. Yeah, Winter's Coming is kind of like a mini pay-per-view. But we're not really treating it as the same. We're not going to do Pay-Per-Viewpoint content for it. And then same thing when it comes to NXT New Year's Evil. We're assuming that they'll probably do that again, but we're not going to cover that. They don't have WWE Day 1. That's good. We don't have to worry about that.
We should have I'm more convinced now that there should be a buffer pay-per-view.
I don't think it should be on January 1st, though.
I don't... Okay, yeah, fine. Semantics. But
do it on December 29th if you need to.
There should be a buffer pay-per-view.
Have Michael Buffer on it?
Absolutely. I think they should have hired him for a lot of things.
But yeah, we got that coming up, and we are going to be recording the AEW End of the Year Awards and the Best and the Worst from WWE as well. The Smark Out Moment End of the Year content that goes in that fashion is all going to be recorded a little bit earlier than normal. Usually I try to record that around the 21st, something along those lines, but this year I can't. I'm going to be away on the 19th. So I obviously, yeah, so instead we're going to record those around the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th.
I'm strongly pushing for we're not going to get any better. So just, Yeah,
but we might get worse. Think of it that way, but we will.
Wait, before we go, Austin Theory has already cut a promo. And I'll read you the headline of the YouTube video. Forget the past. Austin Theory is the now.
There you go. Where it says, I can't remember if the barbed wire match was this year, but the ending. No, I had to double check. The barbed wire, exploding barbed wire death match was last year. I had a whole discussion again too with someone about whether or not Adnan Virk was this year.
That was
last year. Yeah. So no more of our Adnan Virk voice when it comes to that. But we will be breaking down the good and the bad when it comes to all that stuff. I can't even do the Adnan Virk voice right now with my throat being the way that it is. But the plan is to do that around the middle of the month. And I don't know if I'm going to release maybe the AEW one right after that, or if I'm going to put them a little bit up early. I don't know. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but we're going to record them at least around that time frame.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know. I also thought, and I don't know if anybody's actually interested in this or not, so I'm curious with the live chat going on now. Let me know if you think that this is a fun idea. I was trying to think of what we could do for the Darkcast for December. And one idea I had in mind, I thought about this a couple other times before, and every time I thought about doing it, we ended up doing something else, and then I ended up just being like, I'll hold that out for the future. But I'm like, maybe now might be a good time. Would you guys be interested in the Darkcast being footage from when I was a kid, when I did a mock Undertaker versus Bret Hart match for a school project?
Yes. And even if it's not, I think I'd be interested as your friend to see that.
I was thinking maybe I could
share that directly with me in a Dropbox link or something.
I was thinking maybe since that's not something that I would have to worry about for copyright strikes, because it's my fucking home movie footage, I was like, you know what? Maybe that would work as a fun fan outs table where Rob and Callum are watching that. And I've got the footage on there, and that could be actually the first ever fan outs table where people that are watching it on the YouTube thing can actually watch it on there, because obviously people can't go like on the WWE network or anything like that. I was like, that might be kind of fun, because it's pretty fucking ridiculous.
Please do that.
And I figured, I was going to potentially do it last year when we had the 10-year anniversary, and then I thought about having that as one of the things that I release over the course of the whole wedding thing when I was away. And then we ended up doing our own little separate Darkcast whenever that was. I don't remember what that
happened a year ago.
Yeah, it's a full year ago at this point.
I'm very bothered by time.
Time sucks. Yeah. So what do you guys think in the live chat right now? Is that something that you would be interested in, that you would be like, I might even sign up for the Darkcast tier for that? And I might even put that on the $5 tier instead. I've been thinking about doing that too and readjusting those things. But
you need to do that at least.
Let me know in the comments if that is something you're interested in. You could also tell me no. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. It's just a thought. If you're like, no, I'd rather you guys do an episode of Play the Game, or I'd rather you guys do...
I'm telling you, I would rather do that. And we're going to do that. I want to do that.
I'm the Undertaker in it. So
who's Brett?
Brett is my friend Lou. That Lou is weird.
Oh, great! Yeah. Thank you.
It involves two druids as well, and
played by Stu and Drew.
No, Bob and Mario are their names. So
it's even better.
And it was for a music thing, and we were like, no, let's do a fake wrestling thing instead. But that might be what we got. I might do I think I might have shown Caroline that, so I don't know for sure. If I haven't shown it, I might try to get her on it too, because that might be kind of fun. But I might have already shown her that footage. I'm not entirely positive. So again, let me know. Marco says, one of these days to pick your poison, Adnan Virk voiced episode. Or just do the Adnan Virk voice for the entire episode. And just
I don't know if it's something.
Welcome everybody to an episode of the Hot Tags. I wonder if I could do that for a full episode or not.
I don't think you could.
It might be a challenge. I might have to do it. Peter says, I'll sign up when I get my debit card, but I like the idea. So let me know what you think. Let me know what else you thought about Survivor Series WarGames. Let us know what you're thinking of when it comes to the end of the year awards. And
I do have to say, like, I know it sounds like I didn't like WarGames. I'm just at a point where I'm questioning the direction of the show.
Yeah, the WarGames matches and everything were fun.
Was good. Tonight was great.
4 out of 5 matches were fun to watch.
Fun, easy watch.
But the decision for all 5 of the matches to a certain extent, booking wise, I don't know. In ring wise, 4 out of 5 give a thumbs up. And then the Shotzi match, womp womp. So overall, I enjoyed it. It was an easier watch than I kind of anticipated, especially because I've been very, very tired today with all the traveling and all.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for listening to this. I want to thank them for joining us for the live chat. If you were in on that, I want to thank Carrie again for the super chat. Very, very appreciated. And I want to thank you in advance for tuning in the next time. And if you don't, then you are on a guilt trip right now because I already thanked you and you have to, or else my feelings are hurt.
Yeah. You can't do that. It's 2022.
You can't do that to me. Yeah. I can't take it. So you got to tune in the next time. That sounds awful. So we will see you next time with whatever the main event is going to be. Again, right now, I'm not sure if it's going to be the mock draft or it's going to be something else, but we will see, and you will find out when you find out. We'll have another episode of the hot tags coming up after that. We're not doing the combo thing again next week. And pretty soon we'll be getting into those end of the year awards. So start writing up your lists and everybody. Also stay tuned for the feedback survey that I will be putting up on December 1st to give you the option of filling me in on what you like, what you didn't like this year, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, all the other good stuff that comes along with that, just to give me some data, essentially. If everybody goes, yeah, I really only listen to this on YouTube, then I go, you know what, I think I'll do more video type content, so that way it does translate more to YouTube. And if people go, I never really click on the Women's Wrestling Weekly article, then maybe I'll take that off the list or something. That's all really good feedback. So definitely sign up for that and fill that survey questionnaire when I put that up. In the meantime, you do have one other thing that is going on right now, which is the Champsgiving tournament. The finals are still carrying over. We will talk about that next week. And make sure that you follow everything else that's happening at smarkoutmoment.com and all. And also go to fanboysanonymous.com to see what's happening there. Go to amangotree.com and find all these different links, including my own personal Twitter account and Facebook account and all that. I'm all at Tony Mango, and Rob is all at Dude Felice.
Yep, and you can check all my stuff out at Dude Felice. I also have a link tree. There's no URL, special URL for it yet. Give it a few days. I'll have 2. I've already decided on what those will be. Dudefelice.com is always coming soon. And
it's always coming soon. It's never going to happen, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. There will be a blog component where I look forward to sharing my thoughts on just anything and everything. Kevin Conroy died. I'm probably going to write about that. That losing Batman's never easy. Then there's, my work on Fightful, my work on WrestleZone. I'll be working for Inside the Ropes soon. So my work there too. Just thank you for supporting, and support Callum too at Wigmaster14. As a matter of fact, go back and check out the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast and the 2001 Wrestling Odyssey podcast. Callum is really, really good at what he does, and I think he should do more.
I agree. We love you, Callum. We wish you were here.
We really do love you, Callum. And I hope
he's going to listen back on this and be like, what?
As I know it did.
He's going to go listen back on this and be like, why do you make it sound like I'm dead? R.I.P. No. All right, everybody. Well, that is it for this. We want to thank you again for listening. We want to thank you in advance for next time, like I said, but that is it for now. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.